As you know, Middle East tensions have recently gone far beyond limits. The United States and Israel launched a coordinated military operation against Iran on February 28, 2026.
The United States Armed Forces have commenced major combat operations in Iran. Protecting the American people by eliminating the imminent threats originating from the Iranian regime is a struggle against the Iranian regime, a group known for its extreme brutality.
The operation's code name was announced as Operation Lion's Roar, focusing on striking Iran's capital and its strategic targets. This is not merely a conflict between just two nations, in fact. Today, right here, the world's energy balances, global markets, new alliances forming in regional politics, and diplomatic landscapes will actually be completely reshaped. What's the historical background? Let's look at that first. The 1979 Iranian Revolution was one of the swiftest and most profound social changes of the 20th century. This revolution signified not merely a government change, but the fall of a monarchy and the rise of a theocratic state. Economic difficulties, despite the oil revenues Iran brought in during the 1970s, high inflation and income inequality had deeply affected the people. While the Shah attempted to transform the nation with pro-Western reforms and modernization projects, political oppression, censorship, and widespread dissatisfaction with the regime grew. In early 1978, a small wave of protests rapidly brought millions into the streets. People from all social classes, students, workers, clergy, and intellectuals united against the Shah's authoritarian rule. Every protest grew, turning into a bigger backlash as the state used force. This cycle evolved from ordinary protests into a general popular uprising. The revolution's leader, Shiite cleric Ruhollah Khomeini, exiled for many years, became the people's ideological focus. When he returned to Iran on February 1, 1979, he was greeted by millions. His call not only overthrew the monarchy, but also embraced the idea of a new government that reshaped Iran's destiny. On February 11th, Iran's army declared its neutrality and the Shah's regime effectively collapsed. The Shah left the country. A short-lived interim government proved unsuccessful, and the revolutionaries swiftly seized control. Through a referendum held in March of 1979, Iran was officially declared an Islamic Republic. This revolution not only fundamentally altered Iran's political system, but also left profound, long-lasting impacts on both regional and global politics. The monarchy was overthrown, giving way to a new theocratic regime, and Iran's foreign policy was entirely reshaped around anti-Western sentiment and regional influence strategies.
Discussions are unfolding over developments that could overshadow Turkey's Iran stance.
The ongoing tension between Israel and Iran has historical roots that stretch back to 1979. The Islamic Revolution in Iran profoundly shook the regional power balances, giving rise to an ideological, strategic, and geopolitical rivalry between Tehran and Tel Aviv. As Iran continued to develop its nuclear program, tensions naturally escalated further. Although the 2015 nuclear agreement had limited this tension for a period, it escalated once more from 2018 with the deal's collapse. Iran's ballistic missile capabilities and its strategy of using regional proxy groups are perceived by Israel as an existential threat. For this reason, the escalation of tensions persisted for a long time in the form of a shadow war. This included mutual airstrikes, extensive cyber operations, and various conflicts carried out through proxy forces and so forth. What happened in 2025 and 2026? A 12-day war in June 2025 largely shook the balance of the region. Both sides suffered heavy losses, and civilians, of course, endured immense suffering. This period is considered the precursor to today's open conflict. At the beginning of 2026, the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, profoundly impacted the political and military dynamics of the region. This death, in fact, occurred as part of a joint airstrike conducted by Israel and the United States. The Tehran administration vowed a powerful retaliation in remembrance of this significant loss. On February 28, 2026, a coordinated airstrike launched by the United States and Israel successfully hit numerous targets across Iran. In response, Iran retaliated with ballistic missiles, some of which were directed towards Jordan, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, and the United Arab Emirates, inevitably creating significant and widespread regional risks. So, the conflict is no longer mutual harassment hidden in a swamp, but has become a direct frontal tension. What will be the regional and international implications of this situation? situation. When we look at these developments without ignoring them, this situation doesn't just concern Iran and Israel, Lebanon and Hezbollah. Iran-backed Hezbollah initiated missile attacks on Israel from the border, and in response, Israel launched intense aerial bombardments on those areas. This action has significantly broadened the conflict, extending it from Palestine all the way to Lebanon, thereby opening a completely new front. Meanwhile, Gulf nations, such as Saudi Arabia, along with other regional actors, have strongly condemned Iran's aggressive actions in the area and have recalled their diplomats. This development has undeniably hardened the regional diplomatic front. European countries, however, have largely refrained from offering their full support to the attacks carried out by the United States and Israel. Some have called for diplomacy, describing the process as a clear violation of international law. This ongoing conflict is also significantly testing the global security architecture. Energy markets, military alliances, sea routes, and NATO's southern strategies following its eastern flank are being re-evaluated with this new tension. Now, to the crucial question, what is Turkey's position and role in this situation? This crisis, the Hezbollah crisis, developments in Iraq and Syria, regional instability, and fluctuating oil prices are among its core causes. Turkey is not directly at the epicenter, but due to its strategic location and geopolitical impact, it holds a significant role. Turkey announced it is observing with concern both the attacks by the United States and Israel and Iran's retaliatory actions. Official statements condemned all military operations that would cause harm to civilians and called on all parties to engage in diplomacy. President Erdogan characterized this escalating tension as unacceptable for the peace and stability of the region and issued a call for a ceasefire to all involved parties. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan engaged in diplomatic efforts with several countries across the region, including Iran. Turkey, for its part, extended an offer of mediation to help de-escalate the ongoing tensions. The border between Turkey and Iran, stretching approximately 500 kilometers, represents one of the longest shared frontiers. Turkey has stated that it has enhanced its border security and implemented measures against potential refugee influxes. The ongoing crisis also presents critical risks concerning Turkey's energy supply and its vital trade routes. Instability within the Strait of Hormuz could potentially lead to global fluctuations in oil prices, thereby exerting indirect pressure on energy importing nations such as Turkey. Turkey, as a NATO member, manages its position within the alliance with a delicate balance. While protecting its own security, Turkey also maintains its tendency to defend regional stability. So, in this situation, what could be the possible scenarios and their outcomes? This crisis could evolve in several different directions. The scenario I have determined, and consequently, there are three distinct outcomes. The first of these is controlled tension. The parties could return to diplomatic talks within a short period. The conflict would remain confined to the surrounding countries. Secondly, the increased activity of Hezbollah and other Iran-backed groups could potentially open new fronts via Lebanon, Syria, or Iraq. And the third possibility, which is indeed the most significant, is the emergence of a prolonged or multi-front war with the direct involvement of the United States, Europe, or other international actors. What you are witnessing today goes far beyond a classic regional conflict. This is a pivotal moment in the 21st century where global power balances are being fundamentally restructured. So, this war isn't just a military issue, it's a complex global phenomenon at the intersection of diplomacy, economy, energy, international law, and great power relations. Turkey's role is also part of this complex picture, not military, but a critical actor diplomatically, strategically, and geopolitically. And don't forget, this is just the beginning. The upcoming months will determine the direction of this tension. If you have any thoughts on this, please feel free to add them in the comments.